When I was a younger attorney, John Mee, Gary Fuller, and Ted Elam were really our managing directors. They ran the place, and at least from our eyes, and they did a phenomenal job. And they did a phenomenal job because they were following in the footsteps of Stewart, Mark, and Colonel Rucks, who were in the footsteps of Mr. McAfee and Mr. Taft, and they knew what great leadership was.
Gary Fuller, John Mee, Ted Elam. These were the three lawyers that were basically running the firm, that had a tremendous amount of client, a tremendous amount of respect in the community, and these were the people at the top, but you'd never know it talking to them.
Everybody in town knew Ted Elam. Ted, more than anybody else that I know perhaps, had been very intentional about building his network of relationships and just one of the best securities and corporate transactional lawyers that has ever practiced in Oklahoma City. When Ted Elam left Andrews Davis and came over here, that sent a message to everybody that McAfee was the place to be, and that's still happening, today.
I've always been in awe of Gary. Intellectually, he is one of a kind, and I cannot tell you how much I've learned from him and how much he has challenged me, because when I would go up and I would talk to him and he would point out something that I hadn't seen, I would go back and I would think, why didn't I see that? What can I do differently that would have caused me to see that? And some of it is an acknowledgement that maybe some people are going to see things faster than you do. But if you want to see them, maybe you need to look at them a little longer than he looked at them in order to see them, because it's important that you do see them and that you don't overlook those things. Gary is incredibly kind. He was incredibly thoughtful, and one of the nicest things that ever happened to me in the firm is he would come down and ask me what I thought about things and ask for my opinion on stuff, and I thought that was a wonderful compliment. It meant a lot to me.
John Mee would always be the one that would stand up at our firm parties to welcome everybody, including spouses and others. And that was important to him, I could tell, because of the experience he had with the prior leaders in there. And he wanted McAfee and Taft to be a family. And it was important that he reflected that, not only in what he said, but what he did. All of that couldn't overshadow the fact that he was just a phenomenal lawyer in charge of Fleming companies and others, but Fleming companies who represented a large percentage of our business for a long time. And that burden, as I've gotten older and reflected back, had to be great, but he embraced it because he knew he could provide the services that they needed, but more importantly, he could help others within the firm by taking care of such a wonderful client. So he was kind of a father figure to a lot of attorneys, the younger attorneys that were in here, and I think he embraced that role, and we were extremely blessed to have John as one of our leaders during a very trying time in Oklahoma. But because of his leadership, Ted's leadership, and Gary's leadership, our firm is where it is today, and so much of the credit belongs to those three.
They are the generational leaders of the firm, and they were the hallmark of the foundation to carry on what McAfee and Taft and the people before them led us to today. I mean, they laid the groundwork to establish McAfee and Taft as the biggest and best law firm in the state of Oklahoma. And without those three people, we wouldn't be where we are today.